So Justin Gaethje has a staph infection. Now, this is the report and this is the rumor. So Justin Gaethje comes out and he denies his staph infection. Now, I don't really know where this came from. I can just tell you this has been around for a while in our sport. I would be embarrassed if I didn't have ringworm and a staph infection. I would be embarrassed. I cannot remember a time of life of not having those. Now, ringworm sounds really gross because it's got the word worm in it, and then staph infection just sounds confusing because you really don't know what that is. I can't remember a time and then all of my teammates and friends and everybody, we're passing around here. Here's the Lotrimin, here's the this. Here, take a little and get some bleach on that. Like, this was a normal part of conversation. The same as when other teams, when we get done with practice and they go in the locker room and you'd have soap and shampoo for your hair. Like, it was just as normal. It's normal as, a guy putting on his deodorant or brushing his teeth. Like, just part of your hygiene. Somewhere, though, the media picked up on this, and it must have done well. It must have been interesting. Now, Justin Gaethje countered it to let you know that he doesn't have staph. It was an ingrown hair. I'm not a doctor. I really don't. I see staph all the time. I've got staph on my own arm right now, but looking at a picture and trying to tell it for what Justin Gaethje has, I don't know what he has. He does not have an ingrown hair. That I do know. So he is lying about something, but is that interesting? Does that matter? Not to me. Let me weigh in on this, guys. In case you don't know where this comes from, two things. First off, there's what's known as a skin check. You cannot, per the rules, fight with a staph infection because staph is contagious. In case you're wondering where that comes from. Now, in my lifetime, I've never even heard, let alone seen, I've never even heard of a fight being canceled for staph. I have seen wrestlers fail a skin check before. Very, very rare, but I have seen it happen. Another thing that happens with a staph is, well, how do you get rid of it? Okay, well, now you're taking an antibiotic. Well, the antibiotic now you've got to disclose, and it becomes a whole thing through the drug testers and the commissions, which again, it's not all that big of a deal. It just has to be done. But based on the severity of your staph infection, there are some of the medicines that they will give you that will directly affect your cardio. Or so the story goes. This is the story that people have been telling from the beginning of time, that there are certain antibiotics, all the way down to high school kids that have to take a very similar antibiotic to fight an acne. And that it can affect, and you will have doctors that come out and support this, that it will affect your cardio. So when I'm getting asked, what do the odds makers think? I don't know if Ryan means whether the fight will go on. I mean, the fight is so far out.
The odds of the fight.
Will it change the odds of the fight? So again, I'm trying to interpret what this question means, but you've got two things here. First off, will the fight go on? Is that a question we're asking? I'm rather confident that it will. For a general staph infection, like a wrestler or a grappler will get, it takes 3 days to solve something like this. Secondly, would it affect the fight because you're talking about a medication taken? This is how I'm interpreting the question. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I also don't know what it is that Justin has on his neck. I know it is not an ingrown hair. That's my only concern, is that he came out with the cover-up is always worse than the crime. So if he doesn't know that if he thinks he has an ingrown hair, let's just say, for example, okay, I can tell you that's not an ingrown hair, but if he genuinely thinks that's not just a cover story, then it could be staph, which means it could spread. And when it's this visible, it could be an issue. But I think that we're talking about nothing. I've never quite known where these stories come from. But there was a gentleman on The Ultimate Fighter, a training partner and friend of mine, Paul Bradley, wrestled at the University of Iowa, who was sent home from The Ultimate Fighter because of a skin infection. And that was really the first time that anybody in sport had ever been disciplined for a skin infection that you got from a wrestling mat. It was really the first time that this ever became a thing, where the public kind of looked up and realized there can be consequence. So would it affect the odds of the Justin Gaethje fight? No. this isn't my opinion. This came out yesterday. DraftKings, the line has not budged. It didn't budge any more than when it got revealed that Patty the Batty had lost a grappling match over the weekend. Could it turn into a thing? I would be very confident in telling you no if I was confident that Gaethje doesn't truly think that that's an ingrown hair.